Hello, I'm Dynast Amir.
So I reached out to another friend of mine. I said, look, I need to go on vacation somewhere. Where should I go? He said, go to Africa. And not only am I going to go, I'm going to explore a new country. So I went to Tanzania, South Africa, Namibia, Mali, Senegal, Morocco, Liberia, Namibia, Kenya, the Voodoo Festival in Ouida, Gambia, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire. Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria. It's been a beautiful experience, just learning more about our culture, our indigenous culture. So Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. I'm in search of my roots. In finding that, I would experience my Uhuru, which is freedom.
Till next time, Dynast Amir. I'm out.
Peace, family. I hope all is well. I hope your Tuesday. That's right. Today's Tuesday. I hope your Tuesday is going well. Do me a favor. Hit the like button as you come to the chat room. Again, please hit the like button as you come into the chat room. Also, make sure you share and you subscribe to the content. If you have not shared or subscribed, or really subscribed and shared, it doesn't have to be in a specific order. Make sure you do that. Please go to searchforuhuru.com. Again, please go to searchforuhuru.com. If you have not bought the documentary, again, please go to searchforuhuru.com. If you have not bought the documentary, again, the reviews are coming in. Everybody loves the documentary. So if you're watching this and if you have not bought the documentary, go to searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary. Also, we got tours coming up. If you want to join us on the continent, again, if you want to join us on the continent, please go to danfo.africa. Again, please go to Danfo, DANFO.Africa. I would greatly appreciate it that you use us, to travel to the continent. We've updated the itinerary. Yeah, she's not popular right now, but she still has her seat. And then I'm going to get into why she's not going anywhere. And what I mean by, her not going anywhere, like say she gets removed from her seat as well. What I mean, Joe Biden, I'm going to play the clip here in about 5 or 10 minutes, has already said, listen, you guys need to work with the Hispanics. They're next in line. Black people, black vote blue no matter who. Joe Biden has said, you guys need to work with the Hispanics. They're going to be the minority here shortly. So y'all need to work with them. And what I'm trying to tell you guys is that Nury, this mindset that she has, all right, is not exclusive to just her. within the Democratic Party. And that's Asians, that's Hispanics, that's white people. All right, she just got caught. Again, she just got caught. So once again, if you think Nury is the only individual in the Democratic Party or the only Latino in a Democratic Party that thinks this way, you're smoking that stuff. You know, I got beachfront property to sell you in Montana. Now, watch there be some beachfront property somewhere in Montana on a lake or something. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But this is who black people vote blue, no matter who. This is who y'all got to work with. And Joe Biden already told you guys. So when I mean that, when I say Nury Martinez is not going anywhere, I mean there are other people. There are individuals with her mindset that are all over, that are throughout the Democratic Party and in the Hispanic demographic of the Hispanic community of the Democratic Party. That's what I'm saying. That's what you guys got to deal with. And it's shocking and it's hypocritical at the same time that when the left, when they first started airing this story, they're omitting that she's a Democrat. Again, the left, liberal news, when they started airing this story, and as they air this story, they are omitting that she's a Democrat because they want to push this narrative that the only racists are in the Republican Party. Nury Martinez was trying to gerrymander and redistrict, and suppress black voters. And the reason why liberal media, the reason why the left, guys, I'll put the link in the chat room here in about 20 minutes. The reason why liberal media, the reason why the left is not bringing that up, because again, they want to push this narrative that only the Republicans are racist, that only the Republicans are trying to take the rights from black people. That's what they're doing. And they're trying to cover it up, and they're in damage control. I'm like, look, Nury Martinez, don't give up your seat. I know you stepped down from being president of LA City Council, but listen, the seat you have, don't give that up. Nah, don't give it up. Don't give it up. And the reason why I say that, y'all forgave Joe Biden. What you're going to get into, Joe Biden came on here and said, if you don't vote for me, you not black. Y'all forgave him and voted for him in record numbers. Joe Biden said to you all, if you don't vote for me, you not black. And y'all voted for him in record numbers. Took your booties to the poll, took your stinking asses to the poll, and bragged about it. You forgave Hillary after the super predators remark. You forgave Hillary after the super predators remark, which, you know what, I'm sorry to say, turns out to be true. Some of y'all are super predators. Some of y'all are tearing up our community, which is a problem. So I'm sorry. Hillary Clinton had a point. Listen, Hillary Clinton actually had a point. Some of y'all are tearing up the community. Some of y'all are super predators. Y'all tearing stuff up. So you let her keep her seat. Forgive. Nury's not getting any support from the people at all. But again, they continue to omit the liberal left. They continue what's going on in California. Do you see what is going on in California right now? I'm very aware of what's going on. And listen, I'm not the remarks Nury made about the child was wrong, but everything else, I'm not mad. See, Hispanics, the Latino community, they want power. The Asian community, they want power. Black folks, we want to goof around. We want entertainment. We choose entertainment over power. Black folks choose entertainment over power. What she said about that kid was wrong. Leave kids out of it. But everything else, look, you can't be mad at her. You can't be mad at them. They want power. And I don't blame them because black people aren't serious. Black folks want entertainment. We want no voting, no fucking. You know, we want Bill Clinton's saxophone. You know, we want vote or die and little catchphrases and slogans. We don't want tangibles. We want symbolism. That's what we want. So Latinos are like, listen, we taking power. Meanwhile, we playing around. So listen, I'm not mad. But anyways, guys, listen, next tour is coming up November 20th through December 3rd. November 20th through December 3rd. The next tour is coming up. We are rolling to Sierra Leone. We are rolling to Sierra Leone. LA resident here, my Uber driver, Hispanic, said it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, I mean, listen, okay, whatever. And yeah, we want twerking. We want twerking. We want pandering. We want entertainment. That's what we want. That's what we want. Guys, citizenship is available to those who qualify. Citizenship is available to those who qualify. Make sure you go to Danfo, DANFO.Africa. Again, make sure you go to Danfo, DANFO.Africa to learn more. Again, Sierra Leone, November 20th through December 3rd. And citizenship is available to those who qualify. Thank you. Let's jump right in. Let's jump into the topic. Yeah, that's what it is. No voting, no fun. Listen, we discussing no voting, no. Listen, hold on, stop the show. Danfo, DANFO, not Donio. Danfo, DANFO. We up here having this. We're discussing no voting, no fucking. Latinos are talking about how can we take power. You know, behind closed doors, you know, they're trying to figure out how to engage the black voter and get the black vote. Oh, you know what? Let's do no voting, no fucking. Meanwhile, Latinos are talking about how can we take power. We're not serious. We're the only people who give away their vote for nothing in return and then brag about it. The only people. The only people. We are the only people who give away our vote and want nothing in return. Hold on, let me play the video. Here we go. Let me play the video. Prime example. Prime example right here. Let me pull up the video real quick. Hold on. Missy Barr is fake outrage. It's fake outrage, Miss Ibarra. That's Ibarra. It's fake outrage. That's what it is. They got caught. Now they got to play the game.
Congressman.
It's fake. It's fake outrage. It's check the box. That's what it is, Miss Ibarra. Don't take those people serious. Hold on one second. Let me play this video. This is black leadership right here. Hold on. Let me play this video.
of a more perfect union. And I thought that we should continue that pursuit. And I just thought that Joe Biden would do well with that. We had for the last 4 years retrogression taking place in this country. And what I thought we really needed was somebody that could bring this country together. I don't understand why people keep talking about how divided this country is. This country has always been divided. Since 1619, when blacks first came ashore here, and then we had 245 beyond, take us back. Right experience, pursuit of a perfect union.
How do you want Joe Biden to pay you back?
I'm sorry?
How do you want Joe Biden to pay you back?
Pay me back? No. I don't want anything out of this. All I want is a country.
Pay me back? I mean, shoot, man, we got Joe Biden in office, but shoot, he ain't gonna pay me back, man. I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing. This is our leadership. And then we get upset when Latinos say, listen, we want to take power from clowns like this. So we bragged and hit the streets. We hit the streets and celebrated and bragged on how we saved the Democratic Party, how we saved Joe Biden, just to say with our chest out, we don't want nothing in return. And you're shocked that Latinos are like, listen, let's take the power away from these Negroes, whatever so-called power they have, or whatever so-called influence they have. Let's take it away because we're not serious. Let me play it again. I'll play it again.
I'm sorry? Thought at that time and think that Joe Biden has the right background, the right experience to help us continue this pursuit of a perfect union.
How do you want Joe Biden to pay you back?
I'm sorry?
How do you want Joe Biden to pay you back?
Pay me back? No. I don't want anything out of this. All I want is
I mean, he got pissed off for just being asked, how can Joe Biden repay you for helping him win the presidency? He got pissed. I don't want none. I don't want none. This is who we're dealing with. I mean, this is what we're dealing with. That's why I'm not mad at the Latinos. I'm not mad at all. Latinos, take it all. Take it. Take it all. I'm not mad one bit. Like I said, what she said about the child was wrong. But everything else, I'm not upset at all. This is our leadership right here. And this is who Black people go out and reelect every year. Don't hold them accountable. Don't ask for anything in return. Don't ask for any tangibles, just symbolic gestures. Because that's who we vote for. What does Jim Clyburn have to do with what the people want? We know he's illegitimate and put there to deflect from our needs. Because that's who you guys vote for. That's who the Black community vote for. Are you serious? This is what we go for right here. Right here. Guys, do me a favor, hit the like button. I'm going to play one more video, then we'll get into the, I'll open up the lines. You guys will be able to call in. Play one more video real quick. Okay, where's the video, guys? Where's the video? And so this sums it up right here. This video right here sums it up. And this is when Joe Biden was speaking with the so-called black, speaking with the black delegation that, I had no clue was our anointed delegation who represented us. Like, we didn't have any say in it, but this is who we decided to speak to. And this tells you right here what's going on and what to expect and what's going to go down. But guys, I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat room. If you want to call in, I'll go ahead and put the link. Yeah, to the hell with y'all. I'll go ahead and put the link in the Kamala's video. You want to play Kamala's video too? Hold on, I'll play it in a second. I'll play Kamala's reparations video here shortly. I'll play it here shortly. But guys, links in the chat room. If you want to call in, go ahead and click on the link and call in. Here we go right here. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
It's real. So all I'm
You want to play it? We're gonna let these three. We're gonna let these 3 We're gonna let these 3 minutes ride out, like 3-4 minutes. No, 4 or 5 minutes, however long it is. We're gonna let it ride out. I want you guys to hear this, and it's in its entirety. It's very important. Here we go.
Cecilia Rouse, Cece, she is a significant player. That's a serious position. But it's like when I named her, well, I don't know if that counts. I'm not so sure. Well, if it doesn't count for y'all, well, the hell with y'all.
He said, if it don't count for y'all, the hell with y'all. Do you see Joe Biden talking to any other communities in this same type of manner? Do you see Joe Biden speaking to any other communities when he has this sit downs with them in this type of manner? Let's finish. The hell with y'all. Hey, yo, this is supposed to be black excellence. This right here is supposed to be black excellence. And this is how Joe Biden speaks to black excellence. And they just sit there and they just look at Al Sharpton. He's just leaning in his chair. He's just leaning in his chair. To the hell with y'all. Oh, let's play it again.
The people we've already named. You're going to see people. Look, and Cecilia Rouse, Cece, she is a significant player. That's a serious position. But it's like when I named her, well, I don't know if that counts. I'm not so sure. Well, if it doesn't count for y'all, well, the hell with y'all. But because it's real. It's real. So all I'm saying is look at us, judge us based on what we do. You're going to see more coming your way. And not only that, within the White House as well. Cedric is the best. Cedric's been with me from the beginning. And Cedric is going to be overseeing a great deal of this, and not all his responsibility, but he's in every single meeting. He's an assistant to the president. He's in every single meeting in the White House, period. And so what we're going to be doing here is making sure that we have diverse hiring, not only and for the main cabinet position and the sub-cabinet positions, but down the line. It's going to make a big difference, and within the White House as well. Assistant to the president, there's only 6 of those slots. It matters. And by the way, I think you're going to see, I always kid Kamala by say this, but we're going to have more women than men, as it's looking like now. Okay, that's good because I'm surrounded by women smarter than me, starting off with my wife and my sister. But all kidding aside, this is going to be fully across the board. I'm going to keep the commitment that I said. And here's the thing. And Al, Reverend Al, I think you're right about this. It matters what a president says. And if you notice, I am not mincing my words when I speak about what I plan on doing as president of the United States. The only thing I'm not doing is I'm not engaging in retribution. I am not deciding that the way to win is to go after hate with hate. We have to convince people. We have to move them. And one of the overwhelming reasons I won, by the way, is because we took on racism in suburbia. White women. But
hold on, what about the racism in your own party? Guys, if Joe Biden and Alexandria Ocasio, whatever her name is, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, have they made any statements in regards to the situation in LA? Have they made any official statements? Has Maxine Waters made a statement, official statement? So how about address the racism in your Ocasio? So how about address the racism in your own party?
Overwhelmingly voted with me, and Black women were the 2 places where it was overwhelming because we spoke to those concerns. And Vanita, you know what I'm talking about. You and I have talked before. I don't carry around a stamp on my head saying progressive and I'm AOC, but I have more of a record of getting things done in the United States Congress than anybody you know. Anybody you know of getting things accomplished. And that sounds so self-serving. I know that. But this is going to really be hard. This is going to really be hard. And let me conclude and turn it over to Kamala, who says, what the hell am I doing with this guy right now? But all kidding aside, I've known you my whole life, most of you. I've worked with you my whole life, most of you. I've been around doing this for a long time. I don't always get it right, but I always take responsibility. When I get it wrong, I acknowledge I got it wrong. But my overarching objective, if we cannot make significant progress on racial equity, this country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics.
There we go. You guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics. And listen, Nury Martinez is like, well, listen, we're going to have to start working with these blacks. So we got to be in the driver's seat. We have to be in a position of power. Meanwhile, we no voting, no fucking.
40, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me? Minority white European. And you guys are going to have to start working more with Hispanics, who make up a larger portion of the population than y'all do in terms of raw numbers. We're going to have to be working with a whole group of people that, in fact, are the single most diverse democracy in American history and anywhere in the world. And we got to figure out how to unify this country. And you've been the leaders of being able to do that.
All right, so there it is. Listen, so black people, you're not going to be able to outrun or escape Nury Martinez, because the next Nury Martinez is being groomed. and you're gonna have to deal with her or him. Joshua, go ahead. Joshua. Rico G, go ahead.
Hey, Dennis, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm cool, man. Peace to you and all the fam and everybody listening in. I want to just definitely chime in on that, and I always had to go back to my guy, Dr. Claude Anderson, who talked about how every other group were going to come in and leapfrog Black America because they technically, of course, without having the same experience they had, they came in with a plan and an agenda. And when we go back to when you go back to like the civil rights movement, even certain Mexican leaders, is one cat. Even though it was from on Tariq's platform, he mentioned on how this Mexican guy admitted that they use Black people in the civil rights movement to do the fighting, but once the civil rights,
listen, cannon fodder, they're smart. They're smart. Listen, we didn't want nothing specifically for us.
Mm-hmm.
We was on this minority coalition. Good for them. That's smart. Go be the cannon fodder. Go be the cannon fodder.
Yep.
Let Dr. King and everybody lead the way. We'll just be we'll be in the back. We'll be in the back, and then we'll get the benefit off of the life and the blood that's been shed off of King and everybody else. Listen, brilliant. Brilliant.
Yes,
it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I'm not even mad. Very smart. Go ahead.
That's true.
And I'm not mad. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's true.
And
like I said,
we didn't want nothing specifically for Black people. We wanted the minority coalition. So shit, if I'm just sitting around and another group says, listen, I'm about to get my ass whooped for y'all. But y'all ain't gotta do nothing. Y'all ain't gotta do nothing because y'all gonna benefit. But I'm gonna go out here. I'm across was it Edmund Pettus Bridge?
Edmund Pettus Bridge.
Bloody Sunday. I'm gonna get bitten by dogs and German shepherds. I'm gonna get my ass whooped, hit upside the head with billy clubs and everything. But but you know what? All y'all gotta do is sit here, and you guys will benefit all from it. That sounds like a great deal to me.
Yeah, I agree. And
Listen. I ain't gotta walk. I ain't gotta march. I ain't gotta do nothing. I just collect the benefits.
Exactly.
That looks like that's a hell of a deal to me. Why not?
It really is. If anybody listening, go on to the Latino Caucus website and the
I'm glad you brought that up. So
yes.
I'm glad you brought that up. So in fact, we can do this right. Keep talking. So I'm gonna go on their website.
I'll go ahead and let you land this plane. Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna go on the Black Caucus website.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're about to talk about. But go ahead.
Now go. I'll go around there and let you can land that plane. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, but keep talking. Go ahead.
And when we see what's going on with certain communities and they use their political power and they use somebody like a Kamala Harris, like when Biden first got into office, one of the first bills that he pushed was a B1 visa for like South Pacific Asian, for the Asian community as a whole, and mainly India, so they can basically do tech support over in India, opposed to pushing for programs within our community that can push our people into those fields, into the STEM.
Hold on, I'm at the site right now. Let's go through this. About us. The Asian American Caucus advocates for respect, resources, and representation for Asian Americans in Illinois. Okay, this is the Illinois one. Okay, but here we go. We work in coalition with African American, Latino, and other communities to advance fairness, justice, and equity for all. Okay. Let's see here. Here we go.
It's the national one you want to look at.
This is the national one right here. About us, purpose, mission, and goals. Here we go. No, but even on here, they say they work with other caucuses. So, okay. So they got the little minority coalition going on. So I gotta I got to take that
Okay,
back.
I think they may have updated it because it definitely
Yeah,
wasn't.
I remember at one time it wasn't there. You're right, but let's go to the
The Latino caucus.
yeah. Let's go to Latino caucus. Will it be Latino or be here we go, Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Here we go.
But I will admit the Asian caucus, I think like Asian representative, they said they were for reparations for African Americans.
Okay, here we go. This is the Hispanic Caucus. The Congressional Hispanic Caucus was founded in December 1976 as a legislative service organization of the United States House of Representatives. Today, the CHC is organized as a congressional member organization governed by the rules of the U.S. House of Representatives. The CHC addresses national and international issues and crafts policies that impact the Hispanic community. The function of the caucus is to serve as a forum for the Hispanic members of Congress to coalesce around a collective legislative agenda. The caucus is dedicated to voicing and advancing through the legislative process issues affecting Hispanics in the United States, Puerto Rico, and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. So they're telling you where they stand. They just focused on their issues.
Yep.
They're telling you where they stand. They're just focused. They're just focused on their issues.
Yeah, which is true. And I say this.
I'm not mad.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly. Exactly. And they I'd say one thing about the Hispanic Latino community, they give a really good united front. And but me being, like I said, I like to just kind of nail on this point quite often when I speak. Me being from Birmingham and now living in Miami, if you even slip up and call anybody a Mexican from Cuba, Venezuela, Ecuador, Puerto Rico, they will lose their mind. And the way the other groups speak about Mexicans, I mean, like visually, you can visually tell they're Mexicans. They're basically the N-word of their community. But a lot of people don't know that because they give a really good united front. One thing we kind of fail to do at times,
No, you're right. But like I said, so there it is right there.
Yeah.
They're only focused on their issues.
Very true, man.
Cry loud, Spear. Go ahead.
What's up, yo?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Dynast? Yeah, I don't think that we got to worry about anything. You know why? Because Latinos, they usually become conservatives over time. They're only going to use the Democratic Party so they can get their citizenship and stuff like that. And then later on, they're going to switch over to being Republican anyway. So they're just going to disappoint the Democratic Party anyway. The Democratic Party is the losing party. It's going to be on a decline if they keep going the way that they're going with gay rights and child pedophilia stuff and all this violence and craziness in the cities and all this other stuff. They're not going to last. So if anything, they're struggling. If the Republican Party don't go back to the ways of with Bush and wanted to go to war all the time and stuff like that, the Republican Party is going to have is going to stay in power. They can stay in power for a number of years, just as long as they don't have those Republicans like George Bush Jr. Right? But I don't think we have too much to worry about. I think we'll be okay if we just learn how to clean up ourselves. Just take care of ourselves and make sure that we are being educated. We're going out there. We're not only looking for jobs, but that we created businesses. Or if we just elevate ourselves, we ain't got to worry about Latinos replacing us, as far as political power and stuff like that. I don't know.
Say that one more time. But we have to just do what?
If we can just, like I said, educate ourselves, start our own businesses, just focus on ourselves.
As a collective, none of that is happening.
I think we are little by little. You know,
It's
I
too.
think little by
The little by little is too late. Like they already listen. I don't know if I'm in Atlanta. I used to live in LA. It's. I mean, it's past that point.
why you
Here we
say
go.
that?
Here we go, Kevin. Latinos have already replaced you. There you go. There you go. Right there.
How? I don't see how.
Have you been to California?
No.
Okay, so in all these liberal cities, the black population is declining and the Latino population is going up.
Okay. I'm in New York City.
Okay, so then you already know.
Not really. No, I can't
Okay,
say that.
Harlem, the Bronx.
Harlem is more white. I mean, Harlem always had a
Okay,
big Latino.
there you go, right there. It's more white. What happened? What happened to all the black folks?
Yeah, they got priced out.
Okay.
But
Same thing
is
going
that
on
a
in
political
Brooklyn.
issue? But is that a political issue or is that an economic issue?
It's political because, like here in Atlanta, black people continue to vote Democrat, but they're getting priced out. Same thing in Harlem. Same thing in all these cities. Like, how are you voting? The Bronx is Latino. Is that true? The Bronx Latino?
Yeah, it's mostly Latino.
Okay, so there you go. The Bronx. So how is it that there you go? Compton is 90. Compton, South Central, all that's majority Latino now. Atlanta, the black population is decreasing. We already know about Miami's gone. Bronx is gone. New York is going to be pretty much gone. If it weren't for Nigerians, Houston would be gone. I mean, what we got? Birmingham, Alabama, Jackson, Mississippi.
They're coming
Okay.
from Birmingham to be 1,000 with you.
Yeah. So you know.
Okay, so that just means, Spanish is going to be pretty up there with English as far as like, the domination of language in America.
In LA, it's already there.
Okay, but where are the black people going? The black people are still in America. It's just
I have no clue. I have no clue. They're spread out. They're in the suburbs, and I mean, I have no clue. Here we go. 3. Okay. Oh, let me show. Let me pull up this video real quick. I'm gonna play this video. I was gonna save this for another show, but let me show you what's going on in New York right now. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. Let me play this video real quick. This is what's going on in New York, you guys. This right here is what this sums up New York right here. Hold on 1 second. Let me play this video real quick. And I meant to play this last week, but I didn't. This sums up New York, the direction you guys are going in. That's why it's over. Hold on.
Developments in the ongoing migrant influx here in the city, trying to find room for them, causing tension within the city shelter system. News 4 Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo has the new details.
With the city struggling to house thousands of new migrants, we've learned that tensions at some city homeless shelters are at a new high. Fights are breaking out, and in some cases, we're told the resentment is palpable. This brawl happened inside a Brooklyn shelter for families Thursday night. Residents tell the I-Team tensions boiled over between local homeless and newly arrived migrants. Police responded, and today some migrant families moved out of the shelter and into a local church because they simply did not feel safe. We've heard similar stories from several shelters.
Migrants are getting beat on. The police is being called.
Some nonprofit shelter operators tell the I-Team a major cause of the resentment is that the city is now moving people around from shelter to shelter to make room for migrants.
Why are we being displaced for them when we was already reasonable accommodated here? Why are we being moved around, shuffled around?
This resident, who asked us not to use her name, says she was suddenly forced to vacate the Queen's shelter where she'd been living for almost a year and where she received special accommodations for a disability.
I'm on 5 different kind of medications, and I can't take my medicine without eating. So I haven't eaten in about 3 days.
But in her new shelter, she says she has no refrigerator and is not allowed to keep food in her room.
Yeah, this is my leftovers. This is what I have to put my food in.
Because?
Because we can only allow to bring in 1 plate of food at a time.
We have been speaking with a lot of people who are facing sudden transfers and sudden moves because the city is moving people around with no notice, moving people around without taking their reasonable accommodations into consideration.
Some advocates for the homeless want the city to open new facilities for migrants and let everyone else stay put. To be clear, right now, the migrants are also being forced to move around. The city hopes its plans to build relief centers strictly to help with intake and service.
So Rico, this is what's going on.
Yes.
I mean, you saw the video. You saw the video.
Yes. Now, then let me touch on that, if I may. New York City, they're planning on spending $300 million a year strictly for housing of quote unquote for the immigrants that are coming into New York City, and that doesn't even include food. That's 300 million that they took away from education within New York City. So it shows you where this Democratic-led city, how they see the rest of their residents, especially in my opinion, the black residents of New York City.
Well, you know, man. Go ahead, man.
Go ahead, T.
Yeah, man. I'm kind of happy this is happening because the thing is, I would have asked that lady.
Listen, T, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Because I would have followed up and asked that lady, well, you know, who have you been voting for all this time? Like who? Because if she says Democrat, well, then you get what you deserve. And let me tell you this, man. It does annoy me when there are black people who don't live in states that has this issue. Gonna tell other black people that. Very annoying. Because I live in Texas, and man, I see it. I'm telling you, man, there are black neighborhoods that literally get replaced by Latinos, and no slight to them, but I see it all the time in Texas. And man, you can ask a lot of these black Democrats who voted for Democrat. They all say the same thing in Texas. The one thing I do agree with Trump is we got to get rid of all these immigrants. They agree with that. It's crazy.
But you know what's crazy? I guarantee you the average black person that votes Democrat will agree with the majority of what Trump says, but they still vote Democrat. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's because the whole racism thing, and then it's the stigma of your own family members trying to disown you or call you a coon, man. And unfortunately, you're gonna have to stand up to your own family members.
Forget your family members if they're like that. Cry loud, spirit out. Did you see the video?
Yeah, I seen the video.
Okay.
Now, I say that's an economic problem, right? That's not really political, right?
That is political. That is political because I guarantee you that them immigrants won't be housed in Texas. I guarantee you them immigrants won't be housed in these Republican states.
No, they won't, because the Republicans are finally got a backbone and trying to fight back.
Right, but listen, in New York City, they rolling out the red carpet.
Okay.
Same thing in LA. So
all right,
that's
Chicago.
But what? All right. So I understand this about politicians. They go after the money. If black people focused on their economics, right?
They're not doing. Dude, we passed that. It's too. We're past that. Like we're past that point. Like it's 2022. Black folks have decided they're not going to do that again. I bring this up all the time. Ice Cube said, "Listen, let's see what we could get from our vote before we vote for anybody." Black folks said no, so we could X that out.
No, not really, because I'm talking about black people as a whole, not like Ice Cube and some celebrities, which these people are usually Democratic anyway.
No. The plan was for black people as a whole. Black people said no. We
That
vote
was
for Joe Biden.
that,
No matter
but
we vote blue, no matter who.
but that
Yeah.
was before this election. This what we seen what Joe Biden has produced, right? So this Joe Biden is putting a lot of
Listen, bro. I'm in Atlanta. Black folks are still, black folks are still running around saying, screaming this voter suppression nonsense. Well, that shit has been thrown out. Officially, was thrown out last week. Black folks are still on that here in Atlanta.
We still talking about Charlottesville, bro. You know?
nah.
Yeah,
All
they
right,
still
but the
talking
numbers are showing.
Charlottesville, Russia. Black folks can't get out. Russia collusion.
January 6th.
January. We want to see Trump's taxes. This is what black folks are saying. Like, we're past that point.
But that was before. Right now, they saying that the black vote for the Republicans has increased 20%. So that means black people are waking up and they're coming over to the Republican side because they see how terrible Joe Biden and these Democrats are handling the world, the economy, the United States, everything. So they're coming over to the other side, and I think they're waking up slowly but surely. But and not only blacks, you got Latinos as well. And
Hey,
actually,
cry loud.
Latinos are on the fence.
Hey, there's an article that said the only community that Joe Biden is not under the water with is the black community. They said we are the only community that he's doing okay in. Every other community, he's on a downward spike. I have got to find that article, and I will definitely send it to you. I don't think black people get it, man. I think in our community, it's some type of cultural, racial stigma that we must vote Democrat. I mean,
think that's a Democratic article that you just brought up, because the Democrats are going to spin the news in a way that's not going to make them look too bad. But I can kind of agree with what you're saying, because most black people don't watch the news, but don't watch Republican news, and they don't watch like they don't watch alternative
independent
news.
No, man, I agree. They don't even watch independent news like this.
Yeah, so that's probably why they're not seeing how terrible Biden's doing and these Democrats are doing with the economy and everything else. So if they were more informed, which those who are informed, they're switching sides.
Yeah, I don't see how anybody cannot see how terrible he is. As people have highlighted on the show, I voted for the clown, and I'm watching.
Hey, Alan, I want you to repeat it one more time, and this time say it with your chest. Who did you vote for?
I voted for the clown.
That's all good.
I voted for the clown, and now I get a clown show, and that's what I get, and I knew better. But the issue is that, anybody could, I can see how you can muddy the waters domestically, but I don't see how anybody can look at him foreign policy wise and not see what's happening. We haven't even gotten all the people from Ukraine that he's going to bring over here yet.
Oh, I got a comment on that one, brother.
Alan, black people do not see out. Oh my God, Alan, they don't care, Alan. They don't care. They don't care, Alan. They don't. They won't understand until nukes are in the air. Then when nukes are in the air, they're gonna blame Trump. I'm like, Trump ain't in office.
No, Pelosi's out there running around doing foolishness and causing all kinds of problems, taking independent trips over to Taiwan and stuff like that. This is a clusterfuck of an administration, foreign policy wise, and that's what's opened my eyes to him and what he's doing. He's just absolutely terrible, foreign policy wise. It is absolute disaster.
Bro, let me ask you this. Have you ever debated an African-American, just your typical African-American, on foreign policy?
Yes.
Bro, they say, and I get this a lot, and I swear, it's like, I don't got time to be worried about what is going overseas. They're not correlating that the economic situation that's happening in America is affected by what we do overseas. So they don't even care. We can go to war with Russia tomorrow. As long as they see Russia as interfering in our election and helping Donald Trump, we won't care, man. That's the problem. Dynast is right. A lot of black people do not know anything about foreign policy. Nothing. Don't even know what NATO is. Don't even know what the United Nations is. Just nothing. Don't even know what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. All they know is that Russia is just some big bad villain who decided to just smash their neighbors, not even understand NATO, the risk, or having nuclear weapons on their border. I even try to break it down. What if Mexico?
Correct.
I mean, what if Russia decide, hey, we're going to sit there and have a coup in Mexico, and then have Mexico join the Soviet Union, put nukes on their border, and then United States just gonna sit back and do nothing. Like you can't even explain this logically to African Americans, bro.
Yeah, well, you're right, because the example I give is that the Russians actually did that with the Cubans over in Guyana. They set up an airfield. They said they were set to bring missiles and stuff like that. And Ronald Reagan said he wasn't having it, and he went out there and set up the invasion of Guyana, Grenada, right? So that we did the exact same thing. We did the Bay of Pigs. We did all these things, which were exactly what Russia's doing in the Ukraine. It's no different.
Yeah, but can I speak?
Yeah, go ahead. There's some crackling noise coming from you. That's why I muted you. And then after that, Lumumba speaks. So go ahead.
Okay, but what I think is really what's part of the problem is that the only problem Black people mostly have with the Republican Party is that it's very racist, right? We think that the Republican Party is racist. Now, I think to a certain extent that they are, or no, they are, right? Because I just seen.
You see what's going on in California right now?
What you mean?
Oh, the topic of the show.
Yeah. What? Okay, but how's that going?
But that's how.
Your argument is that the Republicans are racist. Look at the topic of the show, and this is, and I've been calling this out for years, but Black folks, they just, they I don't know,
bro. We need the brown people for the war against white supremacy, bro. We ain't gonna get it, man.
What?
No.
Are you kidding me? They discriminate against Black people in their own families.
Oh, bro. Bro, I know, bro. Because like I said, there are a lot of Mexicans that live in Texas, man. And I got a homeboy who I'm cool with who is Mexican. He told me his entire family hates that he's dating a Black woman, man. It's like they got those same issues, man. It's like we think because the media keeps saying there's a Black and brown coalition. I think that is really to get the African American community so focusing on white people all day instead of the economic situation and going to war. And, being stuck with the Democrat Party. I think that's why they keep throwing up that silly Black and brown coalition. And also maybe to get us to be supporting illegal immigration.
Well, that and they do it so that we can all be intersectional. And when you're intersectional, you're not focused on your own interests anyway. While everybody else who's you're supposed to be intersectional with is focusing on themselves, which is what this video shows you.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. Like even in Black neighborhoods, man, I was talking to my boy about this. Like you got all types of races owning the gas stations, owning all of our food stores. There's even a Louisiana Fried Chicken in DeSoto, Texas. That is a predominantly Black area. You go in there's nothing but Asians running there, or like Louisiana, Cajun fish fry, nothing but Asians in there. And I'm like, they could come in our community and sell our own food to us. But if we try, let us try to open up an Asian restaurant or some type of Latino restaurant and go in their communities. They're all going to boycott it. So, man, we're not even disciplined on that level. I honestly don't think we understand what is going on.
We don't want to see it because we only take what they tell us. What we listen to CNN, we listen to MSNBC, and we get our talking points from there. And then we just repeat it. It's pretty sad. But the thing that kills me is that even if you were to watch CNN or watch MSNBC, you should be able to decipher what's going on, especially foreign policy wise, is not on the up and up. You should be able to see that.
Well, and I would like to tap in if I could.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of things I heard. Well, first and foremost, I heard a lot of people saying that African Americans are politically immature. I would agree with that, but I think most Americans are politically immature and don't have a true sense of understanding of what's going on politically, domestically, or internationally. Also, I think we can all understand. We are aware of the fact that politically, the Democrats have been engaging in benign neglect. But I would even argue that the same is taking place with the Republican Party as well. We know Malcolm X said many years ago that they tend to tosses around like a political football, right? And so we know Trump was in office for 4 years. He stated that if he was elected, he would do things to help Black people, and that didn't happen. So I think what the reality of the situation is, irrespective who we're turning to, if we're not looking to be Black first and focus on independent politics where we're asking for specific tangibles, then we're still going to find ourselves in the same situation, because the reality is, irrespective if you're with the Democrats or the Republicans, they're not giving Black people what we want or what we need to thrive in American society.
Hey, can I respond to that Trump thing? Because I agree with you, but the thing is, and I'm looking at it from Trump's perspective, and I'm being honest here. So you have an entire community who doesn't want to talk to you, and let's say your like for example, Steve Harvey, or let's say like a well-known celebrity, because sadly it seems like only celebrities get things done to Black community. They go meet with Trump, and then your own people are cursing him out and calling him a sellout, pretty much setting the stage that nobody can talk to Trump. The only thing we can do is see him as enemy. If I was Trump, and I hate to say it, and nobody wants to talk to me, nobody wants to see me, everyone sees me as an enemy, why would I even pay attention to you? What is the point? Because anytime I do something, you don't ever give me a credit. You always call me names. I remember when Trump did something for LeVar Ball's son, and you got Angela Rye on CNN talking about, well, shoot, I wouldn't think that racist either. It's like he can't get credit for nothing. He released some Black folks out of jail. We give him credit for nothing. He's just a racist. So we will get ignored.
I agree with that. I think many people make that argument because of the bombastic, of course, rhetoric that he's used, and of course, some of the anti-racist, anti-Black practices he's had in his rental properties. But what I will say is, I do agree in terms of giving someone credit when credit is due. I would agree with that 100%. The only thing for me is, I think if we truly are going to get what we want out of this so-called American pie, we have to focus on being independent Black politics, right? And what I mean by that is, first and foremost, we have to fund and develop our own politicians. And then when we go to the dominant powers politically, whether it be Democrat or Republican, we have to come with demands, right? Not look seeking to join their so-called country club, for lack of better words, but actually coming in with demands. And I think that's one of the major issues that I find, irrespective of what side of the political aisle that many of our people are standing or sitting on.
And I agree with that, man. You know, the problem with the Black community is we don't operate in a quid pro quo basis. And I think with the Republican Party, I believe we can operate in a quid pro quo basis, especially in the, since the conservatives and liberals are going to war on so many issues. This is the most opportune time for Black people to position themselves to get something from either party.
The only thing I would say to that is, we've seen that before. I think back in 2004, many of the conservatives went to many of the Black churches, particularly influential Black pastors, and stated, listen, Democrats are looking to push an LGBTQ agenda. You all are Christians. We're Christian. Sexuality is a sin. Vote for us, and as a result, we would do X, Y, Z for you. Of course, many Black churches, pastors, influential pastors, ministers, lay persons went to their congregants, told them to vote for Republicans, particularly in Virginia. And then when the Republicans were elected, guess what happened? They didn't receive anything in return. So what I'm saying is, we see this happening on both sides.
The thing is, and I get that. I think the thing about the Republicans is, I'm gonna say politically overall, Black people, we don't put pressure on anyone. So therefore, if there's no political pressure, there is no reason to do anything for us. So yeah, if the Republicans ignored whatever issues that we had, is because we didn't hold them accountable. And we do the exact same thing with the Democrat Party. Until Black people learn how to actually look, if you ignore us, we're going to make sure you don't win or put some type of political pressure. Nothing's going to happen. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It's hard to have an incentive for Republicans to do Black outreach when if an African American so much as talk to a Republican, especially if they have a huge following, they're going to be called sellout traitors and all types of names. They may be blackballed by the liberal media. A whole lot of consequences and repercussions may happen to them financially, where there's just no incentive for them to even try to talk to Republicans.
But what would be the actual repercussions of us not voting for either party if we're not if they say, hey, we're going to do this with it, and then they don't turn around and do it, what are the repercussions? So they can just wait 2 to 4 years and be in office and getting paid, but still have no repercussions because we can't threaten them with anything tangible,
right?
In America.
I think the other issue is, and I agree with you that we tend not to hold their feet to the fire. We know LBJ oftentimes stated that, listen, I agree with you, but you have to have the political pressure and will to make me do the things that you want me to do. However, I think we're in a time now that because there's been an influx of Latino, Asian, and of course, non-Black immigrants, we aren't that polarizing demographic politically that we used to be when we were in the number 2 spot as a minority. We're able to kind of push the envelope politically in terms of voting for someone to get what we wanted. We're in a situation now, as Dr. Claude Anderson predicted over 30 years ago, that anti-Black racism has risen to a level that in a deal of race relations. And as a result, they're simply not doing anything for us, simply rooted in what anti-Blackness. Literally, to where we don't care if you demand something or not. We're not going to do it simply because you're Black and you don't have the political will to what force us to do so on a national or even international level.
And, I agree with that. I think, to me, if I was being strategic, I think the best thing is for Black people to vote Republican. And the only reason why I'm saying that is that it is going to disrupt the system and put the Democrats on edge. And, if they're losing elections by that, they're going to have to come to the table and offer something. Now, that's not to say we continue to keep voting Republican. Of course, I think Black people, if we were wise enough and not so emotional, can negotiate quid pro quos with the Republicans. Okay, now that we put you in, this is what we want. This is what we need. If not, if you don't want those liberal justices coming in, passing all this anti-Christian laws and, hate speech laws and all this LGBT stuff, and y'all are being called white supremacists and whatever, then this is what we need, and you can keep our vote. I think if Black people act strategic like that, put the Democrats on edge, make them know that, now that the Black community is not just, we're just not stuck to a party, and we still got that monolith vote. I believe that will have us be taken seriously politically, even though we're not financially backing candidates.
Right. And I think the other issue I think that's rather important to look at is that when Democrats believe that they are going to lose the election, or they do lose an election, what they do is they just bash Black men and say it's Black man's fault that we lost. We see this coming out with Stacey Abrams, I believe is her name. You could correct me if I'm wrong, in Georgia, where there's the belief that she may lose. So guess what? It's just Black man's fault that she's going to lose, right? So we are even seeing a situation to where even if they're in a position where they've lost an election, instead of saying, hey, why did we lose? Maybe we didn't do enough outreach. Maybe we didn't provide tangibles. No, they would just bash people and excoriate their character and say, you ain't ish, and now we're going to keep it moving. So, boy, we're in a hell of a dynamic right now. But I just, and I'm going to probably say this ad nauseum while I'm on here on the broadcast, but I believe truly, particularly at a state and even local level, we have to focus on independent grassroots politics. Well, and an example of this would be, of course, the Lowndes County Freedom Movement that was created by Stokely Carmichael. They local candidates, funded their local candidates, and they won all of the county seats in Lowndes County, Alabama. I think we're literally going to have to get to the grassroots political organizing of doing that to actually receive any kind of tangibles. Because I personally believe that irrespective of the person's Democratic or Republican, they are tethered to that party rather than to the interests of their Black constituent.
Well, Ice Cube is the one who showed you how to do politics. He showed you how every other group does politics. What happens too often with Black people is the same thing that happened with BLM, where, it started off with us, right? But then that quickly got wrestled away from us by the LGBTQ people. And they all of a sudden started making rules and causing divisions in the Black community with our LGBT brothers and sisters who don't want to be associated with us. And so they end up, in effect, taking Black people and making us a Trojan horse for all their liberal agendas, and present it as a Black group, but they don't have. And what woke me up to it was there's a video out when Hillary was running for president, and she was confronted by these BLM people. It was very early on in BLM, and she let them talk, and she had audience with them, and they had no agenda. They had nothing of any.
I remember that.
he talked about his
Yeah,
feelings.
it was just like
Yeah, they're yelling at her.
That video, man, you gotta share that
And
video.
she
You gotta share that
quickly
video, man.
dismissed him. And it
because
was so,
Alan, they did the same thing to Bernie Sanders. They just got out there.
Yeah, I saw that with Bernie Sanders as well. They just got up there, snatched the mic from him, and started yelling and screaming. But there was nothing tangible, no actual demands that they could make. It was absolutely ridiculous.
and the only thing I could think of was, if this was the Anti-Defamation League, would they do this, or would they have something substantive to ask for? Would they have an ask?
Exactly.
And that was the moment that I was off of BLM. That was it. Because it just became very obvious. Oh, this can't last. Anybody could take this over, because there is nothing to it other than a hashtag and a feeling.
Man, you know what? I'm glad you brought up Ice Cube, because we are about to approach the midterms. Black people, like I said, the liberals are scrambling because the Republicans may take over. Okay, I don't understand why Black people don't hold the Democrats accountable to what Ice Cube said. You said you were going to speak to Ice Cube about this. When are y'all going to do it? If y'all not going to do it, we're going to give the House to the Republicans. Why don't we do that?
Because they convinced us to turn on Ice Cube. Because they convinced us to turn on Ice Cube. That's what happened. They convinced us to turn on our brother because for their sake. And so anybody who holds Democrats in any way accountable, we're somehow messing it up for the rest of us, or rest of the Black people. We need to shut up.
But the thing is this, bro, like the Republicans are entering a radical phase. Like this is like the Republicans are having internal civil wars. I mean, it's literally Trump American First voters versus rhinos. And I like that, because I don't like rhinos at all. They stand for nothing. But the thing is, this is a moment in history that may only come around like once every 50 to 100 years, where there's really critical, pivotal changes. And you cannot behave in the same emotional status quo manner, especially in this age, because I do believe if Black people squander this opportunity and we keep getting all these immigrants come in, that's a wrap for us politically. Well, why would anyone listen to us?
I'm sorry. We already, it's already a wrap for us politically. We missed our opportunity. We had the opportunity when in the Democratic primary, when we could have pushed Bernie Sanders across and shook up the Democratic Party, and we listened to Jim Clyburn, and we chose not to. So from that moment on, that pretty much let us know that we're no longer relevant, because we didn't understand the brevity of the moment, which was we could have switched up the party and really changed things. Instead, we voted for the status quo and ended up with Biden.
Yeah,
so we missed our opportunity.
Yeah, I'm starting to think Black Democrat politicians are the worst, because they are truly loyal to the party. They never challenge it. They do whatever they're being told to do. Whatever status quo Democrat is being told to support, they will back it. It's just ridiculous, because I don't really like Bernie, but I thought it would have been interesting if it would have been a Bernie versus Trump, because I do believe whatever sides win, it is going to change the country and upset the status quo. But the fact, I don't understand why Black people did not side with Bernie. Maybe you can explain that. I really don't get that.
I don't get it either. He was for more things that were for us.
I think it's because the minions told him not to.
Yeah, and Hillary Clinton is a celebrity.
To be quite honest, most Americans typically vote for what the news media tells them to vote for. And I give you an example on both sides, right? I can recall when I was in the National Guard. Yes, I was in the white man's military at one point, and Barack Obama was running for president. And one of my soldiers, I was a sergeant, said to me, "Well, he's a terrorist." He said he was a terrorist because Fox News was saying that he was a terrorist. Right? He didn't even know that this guy was a junior senator from a junior U.S. senator from Illinois. Right? So we see the same. Like I said, we see the same thing on both sides. And as Dr. John Cleary Clark taught us, we have no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, only permanent interests.
Yeah. Go ahead, Shirley Huzar. Go ahead, Shirley. Let us know. Oh, Shirley, not well. Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead,
I apologize. I am fighting a cold, but I want to commend you, gentlemen, because I have really enjoyed a calm, intellectual insight on where are we as a people, and not just throwing bashes at each other. T, I love what you have to say. And brother, Lumina, speak. I don't know. I don't say your name right. I be speaking Ebonics. Brother, I love what you have to say as well. So forgive me my Ebonic response to your name. Let me start briefly with the history of my background to some of those who may not know me. My name is Shirley Husar, Husar. I'm the CEO of Urban Game Changers, where we go into urban communities and we hold elected officials accountable. I've been saying this all the way back in 2008. I wrote for the Washington Times for almost 10 years. And I was always a political junkie. Fast forward 2015, I became an advocate for Donald Trump. 2016, right before he was elected, I was the first and only African American woman with her sons to represent the state of California and speak and announce a delegation in his behalf. Fast forward 2016, I was asked to go to White House North. Nobody uses that term. White House North is what they were preparing for the White House before he entered it, and that was at Trump in New York. So I went to New York. I went up into their headquarters. I was invited by Omarosa. That's all this is recorded. I was Getty's was there taking pictures. Washington Times was there. New York Times was there. And they saw me enter that golden elevator. And nobody knows what happens after the golden elevator. I'll tell you. I went upstairs. I talked with her and the leaders at that time before Trump was put into office. And I said, what are we going to do about the Black community? At that time, I was an advocate for Yvette Cornell and a clarification of understanding who are the descendants of slaves. What is a descendant of slaves? But at that time, I did not know that Omarosa was not a descendant. A part of her lineage is not of that. She's very connected to Nigeria and all those other foreign folks. And no offense to those folks, I'm just having a clarification of who I am. Fast forward, here we have the inauguration. He gets into office. The first people, which you guys, I'm not heard in this conversation, and I documented it, and it's on my YouTube channel. It's called Omarosa Buffoonery. You have to watch that whole video. When he got into office, the first Black people he met was the CBC. Now stop right there. A lot of problem we have with Black people is that we don't have our own coalition. We just know they exist, and I don't care about politics. They exist. Well, now we're all seeing the effects of an irresponsible act of our own people. And I will say that even with the conservative Republicans, because I'm very heavily involved with them. I will even say that with them because the problem that you have was the first time Trump got in office, he met with the CBC. Roland Martin interviewed them. You can look this up. Roland Martin interviewed them. And then when Roland Martin interviewed them, they said, you know what? We realize he's the president. We need to do something. Then the CBC got together and said, we're not going to do shit for them. We're not going to ask them for nothing. And then they came back with a letter that they posted on Twitter, which may not still be up, but I did a video on it and I took pictures of it, where the CBC said we don't want anything from Donald Trump for the Black community.
And that's why we're ignored.
And that's why we're ignored. And so when he said that, but T, you said something earlier. I'm going to go back to what T said earlier too. T said, how many times you going to hit this white man and tell him every time he does do good for your people, you don't accredit him for that. You don't, everybody, remember, this is the president. You have to credit him for something. He is doing some act of good, but you don't credit him for that. And after a while, you say, well, why do I have to help these people? In the meantime, that same year, 2016, Pence met with the Latino Coalition. And the Latino Coalition, when you went to their website, which you saw in that video, because the good thing about watching old videos, their websites change. At that time, the Latinos said, hey, look, we're worth trillions of dollars. We're worth billions of dollars. We're building capital in America. You need to come see us. So Pence saw them, but Trump saw us. We ignored Trump. And then the following 3 years afterwards, they gave their energy to the Latinos. So what's wrong with Black people? Number one, you guys don't have an executive order. You don't understand executive orders. You don't understand that within government, they give money to people allocated. They gave money to the Native Americans. They gave money to the Latinos. They gave money to the Jews specifically. Now the problem we're having, Yes, we're asking for money, but now we're clarifying, well, what Negro should get that money? Should it be the Africans? Should it be the Haitian Americans? Should it be the Caribbean Americans? Oh no, we're all the same. We got so much inside fighting. It's just it's bizarre. And I'm so grateful for Dynas. He allows people to have their voices. Half these people I cut their heads off. But that's just my opinion. I'm from a hood, so forgive me on that sense. But that's what I just wanted to say. You guys need to understand Trump did come to black people first. And then y'all saw the buffoonery with Omarosa with that bullshit. And then she got out of office. So they didn't create another position that she had. We have no representation. We still don't have any representation. Their mindset with the Democrat is this, and I'm going to end it with this sentence, and I'll lay back. You got something black right now. You Negroes should be grateful. Is Kamala want to be Black Harris? That's who you got. You got that Indian woman who's claimed to be black, and all them Essence sisters, all them Essence people had a big event with her there, and then all the Deltas and Alpha, whatever she is, whatever sorority she's with, they all support her. So you got your black. That's all we're going to give you. But until us as people sit down and say, no, these are the policies, these are the principles, no matter who's in office, no matter who's the elected person, we have principles and values that we want in place to help our community. These people have come into our communities. I'm from LA, born and raised in Los Angeles. And when y'all talk about Democrats, Republicans, there is no Republicans in California. They have no power, pretty much. It's all controlled by Democrats. That Mexican cop, they call you monkeys. All you niggas is nothing but a bunch of monkeys. And they say it in Spanish privately, and they laugh in your face and behind your face. And because they're able to speak their language in this country, and English is not a primary language, you ain't nothing but a monkey. So all you monkeys that are watching right now, and I know we are not monkeys. Grant me, if anything is slashed, that would be me. I know we're not monkeys. But this woman, that what she said that was most offensive to me was that we are monkeys. And I think that is wrong. And I think we as black people need to find some kind of front instead of just have these talk quorums where there's action in place in regards to this. But these people have money now. These people have power. They come here, they house them. There was a conservative who was on the front line in California over the border showing these conservative, these liberals and Mexican people are helping these people over the border. They're doing stuff illegally, and then they give them money when they get here. The Afghanistans came to Los Angeles. They get apartments for $2,500. Yet you got 80 to 90% of the black people that are homeless. It's a mess. What's the solution? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I think the solution is you have to make demands of the executive, irrespective of who is in office. And I think, unfortunately, if what you say is true regarding the Congressional Black Caucus, and I think most people who are in the know politically about the Congressional Black Caucus would state that they've lost their credibility a long time ago. But I think the major issue is that black people, for some reason, politically, have been bought and sold, particularly those, I would argue, in both the Democratic and Republican part of DC. They tend to promote these type of nonsensical talking points, in my opinion, irrespective of what part of the political aisle that they're on. But we have to make demands. And unfortunately, what I've oftentimes seen is those demands aren't being made. What we've also seen with black people on both sides is situations in which we could look at how Omarosa was treated when she was, fired and then kicked out the White House, so on and so forth. So even when black people do go over to the Republican side, they oftentimes are mistreated as well, oftentimes in a very public and rather extremely embarrassing manner, right? So I think we have to be realistic about this. And
I'm going to say this.
I think Omarosa was I don't know, man. I think she was trolling, man.
I know Omarosa. I've met Omarosa. Omarosa was a trick bag. I think she always was with the Clintons. She went in there and privately recorded the president of the United States, and they had to put a gag on her because that lady went over the line to the point I was like, oh, nigga, you real bold. You went in there and you were wired. This girl was wired in private conversations. Let me tell you, I know people who know the situation, and I was there. When he got in office, there are articles that tell you she had the same privilege as his children. He really cared and loved for this woman. For what reason, we don't know. But she could walk straight into his office and put her opinion on the table. And I think there's like 2 to 3 levels that you have to go through before they're going to let you all the way in there. And she had that power. She abused that power She never was for Trump. She never thought he was going to win. And then she had to determine how she was going to handle that role she was given, because she said, I just want to help Black people. What does that mean when you're not connected with the community? You don't have connection with the community people. She was a trickster. She got in there. Who tapes and carries a wire on them in private meetings with the president that affects the country?
That was blackmail to go back to the media with.
If she was hired to be someone who would be a liaison between the Oval Office and the Black community, and she didn't have a connection with the Black community, to me, that means her hiring was symbolic rather than substantial in nature, because I'm quite sure that Trump's administration will properly do their vetting, even though we could question that, because we know for the most part, his administration was a dumpster fire with people being hired and fired, oftentimes in a manner of 2 weeks. But what we do know is that if someone would hire someone to be a liaison between their office in a particular community, and that person doesn't have a relationship with that community, to me, that looks like something that's symbolic and being done simply for optics.
I'm going to have to say that is fair criticism, because Trump did hire some people that I was like, why would you hire this guy? Like, I know Alan HB was talking about foreign policy, and Trump did hire John Bolton, the guy who is for Iraq war, the guy who wants to do first strikes against Iran. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you hiring these people? Because as soon as John Bolton left, I knew it. He wrote a tell-all book about Trump. Trump had a lot of people that wrote a lot of tell-all books, and I feel like he had a lot of rhinos surrounding him, and he's just putting people on. And you're right, not doing the right vetting, which does hurt him, because they leave and they write tell-all books and they make millions of dollars. So that is fair criticism with Trump. Omarosa had no business being in there. Yeah, she's not really well liked.
I would say this because I saw the comments. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. Politically, I am registered independent, and I vote independently as well.
And let me say this about Speak. I like the fact that you take that middle ground. I can't take that middle ground. I'm too old school. I know too much, and I'm going to cut to the chase. But I appreciate you providing a balance for our community and your input. I kind of lean more towards T's side. So I agree with you. And I also agree with Alan.
I'm going to reach out to you to interview for my channel. So.
Oh, no problem. Well, I'll do it when I have a real voice. I also agree with Alan when we talk about, she was never the right person for that job. Politics is weird. These people hire their friends. When we really start doing some history, all these politicians, not just Trump, when we talk about Democrats and Republicans, they just hire their friends. They just sit back.
So then that goes to what that begs the question is, are they actually trying to help the community or their constituents, or are they trying to ingratiate themselves with their fraternal group, right? So once it goes right back to the same question we've always been asking. Irrespective, as Malcolm said, if you're being bit with a smile, if you're being bit with a growl, you're still being bit. So the onus is on us to organize and to make tangible demands.
Well, is it safe to say, I guess, not to quite defend Omarosa, but if I'm not mistaken, she was pivotal in increasing the student loan funding for HBCUs, or am I incorrect on that?
That was a
she probably was
the loan funding during the Trump administration.
Yeah, and the thing is, man, like I do think
HBCU funding. I'm sorry.
The thing is, like I said, I don't think Trump really had an incentive to really do anything for Black people, because if there's that negative stigma that if you vote for him, you're a coon, and the media is telling all Black people not to vote for him, and then Black people are sanctioning their own people. I forget. I think it was Chrisette Michelle who was invited. It was two Black women invited.
Yeah, Michelle.
The first one. Yeah, she got so bullied by her own people. Yeah. When she didn't want to do it, and then Chrisette Michelle is getting canceled by us. We're not buying her albums no more. I think Spike Lee took her out of a movie. Like we're doing sanctions, like how the United States do other governments, against our own people for even doing anything with Trump. Is that ignorance? Where if I'm looking at that as a white Republican, I'm like, why would I do anything for these people? They punish their own publicly. They tell the public that this Black person is not my skin folk. We want nothing to do with them. That is the problem with the Black community. Until we fix ourselves internally, knowing how to talk to one another, just because we disagree, we can still come together with a common agenda. The Republicans, they have no incentive to do anything for us. So yeah, we will get ignored by them, and they're going to push other parts of the
though, but neither party has any incentive.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question on this aspect, although we keep saying the black community ostracizes, we do all this other stuff. These people have money, right? They have money to have the louder voice. The real voices, we're more of the real voices. We don't have the financial backing to be able to have that voice like those people. So there's a lot of placement of why people are given the way they are because they're already divisive. You know, there was this whole thing with Roland Martin and Charlemagne the God, and Mr. Research did a small stip on it. And I said to him, I texted him, I said, you know, leadership versus ownership of people who are backing these people. These people get backed to push the bullshit to say that represents us. And then we get to arguing within them, and we're so busy arguing, they on to the next trick that they got going on. And that's the bullshit. Let me say this about the HBCU with Omarosa. Everybody said, well, did she help with that? Remember, I don't trust Omarosa at all at this point. Anybody who's bold enough to put a wire and go into the White House and do what they did to President Trump was, it's just blackmail. So but she did the HBCUs. Okay, fast forward. Where's HBCUs today? They're taking immigrants. They're being bombarded with illegal immigrants, and you have to take them in your school. Why don't you push them in USC or Stanford or Yale or one of those? No. The black historical colleges should have them. Why don't you push them in the Jewish universities?
But I will say, I think there's a reason for that. And oftentimes, unfortunately, many HBCUs are cash strapped. And so they become dependent on tuition in order to have an operating budget. And that's one of the reasons why many HBCUs are going outside of the black community to get students, because they
got funded heavily under Trump, right? Did they get funded heavily under Trump?
Well, they got more funded than they did before. But I'm just saying on a macro level, this is why many HBCUs and even regional HWIs are going out and seeking students that are traditionally haven't been their primary demographic, because they are cash strapped and dependent on tuition as a way of actually having an operating budget. So I think there's a nuance.
That leads to the bigger picture where I talk about executive orders and monies that are allocated that leverage to help other communities and not ours. Because I agree with you. If we had the leverage of Mr. Jones being able to continue to have his store, and she's able to have her market and gas stations. We used to own these kind of things, by the way, and businesses. If we could be able to be funded like these people, then when it comes to the educational aspect of our children, we can hire our own children and keep them going. That's what they do. They hire their own. The system that they do, they stole from us. Now we have no system. And I agree with you. I understand HBCUs are strapped to some extent, but now we're totally compromised in our purpose of the culture, of the history of having the schools.
And we do know that historically, if you look at the Moral Act and then the Second Moral Act, HBCUs have always received significantly less funding than white land grant institutions. So this is a historical issue as well as a contemporary one.
Yes.
The thing is, we have to admit, though, man, I think we got too many sellout traders representing us, and the problem is there's no consequences for them. Al Sharpton should have been denounced as a coon and kicked out of our community. So is Roland Martin. So should the CBC, the NAACP. None of these institutions do anything for us. But yet, for some reason, we keep voting these people in because of their skin color. And I think Kamala Harris was still her VP run and how excited a lot of black people were. It still shows that our people are not even vetting our own. It's like we don't understand that black people can get bought out like any other race. You know, you can throw a bunch of money at some of our people and they will sell out. I don't understand why we haven't grasped that just because someone is black, they can't sell out. And unfortunately, we have a lot of traders that just stay in power, stay in office, speak on our behalf, and nothing happens. It's just amazing to me. You know, one more thing, when those traders went down to the border, when Trump was announcing building cages or something or whatever, and I believe one of our black representatives from the CBC, I don't know if he's still alive, I forget his name, but then he compared that situation to slavery. He should have been kicked out of our community Because, like, why are you spending all this issue fighting for open borders when that has nothing to do with us? It has no benefit, but you just want to show this black and brown alliance, making us all look stupid. That's the problem, man. We don't punish our traitors. So I think that's another problem why we will never get anything done politically, because we are too weak to get on our own.
And if,
Hey,
and
let's
if
let me 1 second. I'm sorry, because Amars has been waiting. Amars, go ahead and unmute yourself. Amars, going once, going twice. Okay, go ahead, Lumumba.
So yeah, one thing I wanted to say, because the brother brought up what was taking place, and I remember I was teaching a course at Columbus State Community College, shout out to the 614, and I had a conversation with the students where they were going in about Trump and them deporting families, separating children from their parents. And I said, well, let's talk turkey here, right? Let's be objective. If you commit a crime, your kids don't get to go to jail with you. Right, this is the reality. If I do something, if I commit a crime, my kids can't go to jail with me. Secondly, there was a time back in the Middle Ages where the children did go to jail with their parents, and it didn't turn out well, right? But the second issue is, I said, if you want to be honest, I asked them, what administration deported the most immigrants in the history of the United States? It wasn't the Trump administration. It was the first and second administration of what? Barack Hussein Obama. So I said, once again, you're following the narrative in the media, right? But you didn't have that same energy when Obama was doing it. He deported more families and more people than any administration in American history, simply because he was a media darling. So that's one issue. The second issue is, and I know I've stated this a number of times, I'm almost regurgitating the point ad nauseum, if we find sellouts and traitors on both sides. Tim Scott, I think, is a senator from South Carolina. He said America isn't a racist country, right? So we see on both sides individuals are promoting nonsensical talking points that are that promotes them strengthening their ties with their base. Because we know one of the issues that the black community has with Republicans is that they're so tethered and tied to these white ideas, right? These white concepts of, oftentimes if you talk to Republicans, particularly conservative Republicans, I'm sorry, I can't talk today, we tend to find these ideas and concepts of there is no racial discrimination. There was never really a history of bigotry and prejudice, so on and so forth, right? While on the Democratic side, we're always victims and we can't get away out of problems, so we need paternalistic white liberals to help us. So once again, in my opinion, neither group is actually advocating for what we really need, is to restore ourselves to our traditional greatness as a free, proud, and productive people.
But you have to understand that each group, that's not their job. It is not a party's job to advocate for your group of people. It is your people. And the fact that we don't have real people who will counteract Scott or counteract Kamala. Kamala want to be Black Harris when she says, I'm Black. Nobody was upset about that. Or counteract.
There were people upset, but not people in the positions that they need to be. Yeah.
Right. Or people know what, let's go back to, Ling Ching or whatever her name is. I'll get the correct name before I get off this and I'll research it. The lady who put us tied with the Chinese people and said, we will not be on, Black people don't want to be called Negroes. They want to be called African Americans. I disagree. Call me a Negro. First is on my birth certificate. Second of all, it's historical. And there's certain guidelines, there's certain addendums that were put in place for Black Negroes. And so that word has a different connotation about what it really means, maybe different today, but back then it had a certain guideline that it supported. So you can't look to people who are in a party position to represent you. We have to say, okay, now we are quote unquote woke. What are we going to do now? How do we get more people like you brothers here who represent real brothers, the alpha brother, not the sweet brother who they want to continue to promote, that dark, sweet Black man with lipstick and a beard. I mean, I'm being honest.
And I gotta say this, sister, when you say that, when I used to first hear that, I was like, man, that's ridiculous. But I work in higher ed, and I see that more and more today. Literally, that if you are a heterosexual, masculine Black man, you tend to be ostracized and almost treated as if you are some type of predator that is a detriment to, of course, the campus ecology at whatever institution you're at. So, I mean, I really have to, praise you for that. And we've even seen an aspect, particularly in my industry of higher education, in which many Black men are oftentimes being taught that being effeminate is seen as healthy masculinity. I know many people would say this is ridiculous, but the fact that I'm, finishing up my PhD, the higher you go, these are ideas that are actually being promoted and disseminated in higher education.
I will second that.
Being promoted towards Black men. These are things I've seen myself.
Wow.
I've worked in 5 institutions of higher education.
Wow, that's deep.
Literally,
yeah, masculinity is toxic. As soon as you act like a man.
Go off the rails real quick, but I remember there was a program they created for African American men, and a brother came in. I don't know what his sexuality was, but he was very effeminate, and he said, "So I want you to get out a piece of paper, and we're going to have you all writing in diaries." And he sashaying across the room. So the brother's like, "Man, I'm not writing no diary." Now, if you came in with a different type of energy and said, "I want you to write in a journal and be reflective about your experiences," you could have got a different type of response.
Yeah. What I wanted to contribute is that, before they were talking about our leadership, and I want you, to think back to the video that Dinah showed, where Joe Biden saying that all that stuff. What is our leader Al Sharpton doing? He's sitting there.
Hey, he was just like this.
Yep, just lean back and nodding his head and a grin. Yeah, boss. Yeah. And allow that man to go ahead and talk to us any old kind of way. That is the representation we have. Al Sharpton is a known informant for the government. That's not hyperbole.
That's fact. That's fact.
That is a fact. All right.
Yeah, and you notice every time he's talking to Black people, he's very disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking in a didactic tone and manner as if they're little kids and they don't know that 2 + 2 is 4. I mean, if I ain't gonna lie, if I was on the panel, I'd be like, "Man, who you talking to?"
Right. But so he has no problem with the white man talking to you like that. Any real leader would have stopped him and said, "Wait, what do you mean talk? Go to hell. What are you talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
But he would not do that because that's his boss. And and now what civil rights leader, what revolutionary have you seen who's parlayed everything into a TV career and it is on television being a talking head? It's laughable that we follow these people at this point. I was young and I used to follow these people and thought they were all right. But I mean, now I'm in my 40s. What am I doing?
You're politically mature now, brother. That's it. You're politically mature, and we know, unfortunately, many of our people are politically immature, and as a result, we tend to focus on symbolism. The person looks like us. They eat chicken wings. They went to an HBCU and they posed in front of a picture of the movie Black Panther, rather than providing actual tangible, substantial benefits for the Black community. Now, back in the day,
That's true.
Back in the day, what we used to have was tangibles. We could talk about Shirley Chisholm. She focused on bread and butter issues for the Black community, actual resources, development, and of course, the war that she was representing in Brooklyn. But today, Lord have mercy. I mean, it's a joke. All you got to do is do this, and they'll vote for you. I mean, it's a joke.
Well, is that what Kamala did? Kamala didn't know anything about the Black community, and she ran around, she bopped her head and danced, didn't get any votes herself, and then got attached to somebody else's ticket, and then they made her out into a civil rights icon.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that.
They say talk Black, marry white, but think green. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I'm glad you mentioned about that, Kamala, because she was not connected with our community at all. When you say things like "I smoked weed in the '80s and listened to Tupac," that is some pandering stuff that I expect like a white liberal Democrat to come to our community and act like they understand our culture by saying some stereotypical thing. I wouldn't expect an African American who was already in our culture to say something like that. Kamala Harris is an outsider. I don't even think she affiliates with Black people at all in her personal life. I think she just put it on playing that role for votes.
You got to keep in mind, Kamala Harris is from California. And there are a lot of Californians right now. They won't say it on the screen, but a lot of people I know who work for the Sentinel, and they were like, she did not do what she said she was going to do for us. I said, well, then all you Delta sisters or whatever this woman is part of, y'all should call her out. They don't want to call her out.
People still voted for him. Like when she was running for president, when she was running for the nomination, they brought all this up. They brought up her tour record in terms of criminal justice, so on and so forth, convict leasing, all of that. And people was like, "Oh, we're not gonna vote for her because look at her record." And then they still, once she became the VP, they said, "Okay, it's all good. We'll vote for you."
Hey, I got the best example of that.
Hey, well, hold on. Let's pass it to Dr. Edward Williams.
Yeah, Dr. Edwards has been waiting.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Doc.
Dr. Williams.
You gotta mute yourself.
Check 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
We hear you. Go ahead, loud and clear.
Okay. Well, my thought process is a little different. I think the Pan-African movement is the way to go. I think getting very cerebral with who is out there is the way to go. I believe that the best solution that I can think of is building embassies and consulates, whatever national connection that you'll have with your ancestral DNA. I believe that building intelligence departments and doing counterintelligence and intelligence is the answer to many of our problems. I believe that starting small, building, academic programs in Sierra Leone or various other institutions is the key, and then establishing trade and expertise, trade commodities between Sierra Leone and the United States, and kind of getting ahead of what we excel in here in America, which is entertainment. I think if you get all the athletes and everyone to come on down to a local consulate office that we're designing and imbuke some of their ancestral DNA results and seek citizenships and wherever they're from, I think that's the first step to building a strong base and a strong foundation. That's all I wanted to say.
And Dr. Edward, I'm going to interview you for my channel as well. I'm a Pan-Africanist, so I'm going to put your information down here.
And my doctorate is in physics and electrical engineering, and we graduated from, I attended University of California and then finished at Arizona State University and attained my PhDs and doctorates in physics and electrical engineering.
And what institution are you at?
I'm currently operating my own engineering firm.
Okay.
We operate out of San Diego and Chicago. I also think that, we waste a lot of time on political issues without realizing where our strongest base is in the United States. If you look at some of the highest percentages of where African Americans reside, they reside in cities like Houston, Atlanta, Chicago, Philadelphia. And I think once people realize that they should move there and solidify their base, you'll have more strength. An average politician is bought off and paid for. So if you're not raising $40 million for their campaign, you have no power. It's powernomics.
Mm-hmm.
Chess, not checkers.
That is, yeah, and I totally agree with that, man. And the thing is, we can't even shift to that economic talk because, like I said, I believe we're too focused on defeating white people. And we have to understand as men, especially black men, the white man, no man is going to step down in power to put some minority on the position or, African, whatever race, especially if they're ruling that country. That's never going to happen. And I think the best thing is for black men is to build our own institutions because asking white men to elevate us, it's not going to happen. Why would another man elevate another race of men who can compete with them economically and physically? That means we can go to war with them and like overthrow them. It's never going to happen for us. So the brother is right. We have to build our own.
I can give you a historical example. F.W. de Klerk, when they were, supposedly breaking down apartheid in South Africa, F.W. de Klerk stated rather poignantly that we are not going to negotiate ourselves out of power, right? And so what we do know about white people on a macro level, right, when we talk about the white man and his wife, is that they do not operate politically, economically in a manner that is not in their own best interests.
Something else I also wanted to say, I was working with Arizona State University as a academic professional consultant. We built many universities in Abu Dhabi, Pakistan, various countries, who I'm not going to speak about that, but it's like, why aren't we doing the same for Sierra Leone? Using USA grants and funding. And I think that's the first step is to kind of build, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, we should develop those relationships so that we can create our own institutions and create our own manufacturing for batteries. You get cobalt from Sierra Leone or Congo. Why not harvest and design some batteries there? My PhD was on batteries.
Hey, so my response to you is this is a fairly new. See, what we're talking about the economics of the African American community. We have to understand that this conversation tends to only happen on social media, And prior to social media, I don't even ever think this conversation would even ever exist. So I believe this is a fairly new concept. And, I would ask you, do you believe we have a lot of gatekeepers in the Black community who say they speak for us, but they never put like a Dynast on, or you on, or
Well,
Love That Speaks on, or
I'm
Shirley on?
I'm a little bit ashamed of this, but I don't really have a tie to what you would define as the Black community. What I do know is in academics worldwide, I'm respected and revered in countries like Pakistan and Abu Dhabi, but I get no shine in the United States.
Of course not. Of course not. Because like I said, I feel like the economic conversation will change Black people a lot, especially Black men. But yes, our own African American quote unquote media will never interview you. They will never interview you. They won't interview Dynast. This intellectual conversation about Black economical power will never happen. It's all going to be centered around white supremacy. But the good thing is, I do think as channels like these keep growing, that is going to change the narrative, because I am seeing Roland Martin coming after us. There was that one, I forget that lady name on. I think they asked her about why Black men aren't voting for what's her name, Stacey Abrams, and then she mentioned some YouTubers. She mentioned Kevin Samuels. The reason why I say that is because they are at least listening to YouTube.
You're talking about Tiffany Cross.
Exactly. They are listening to YouTube, and I think our arguments. I think we're making stronger arguments where they are responding, because Black people are showing up on their comment sections, attacking them, calling them all types of names. So I think it's happening slowly. I don't know if it's going to happen this time, but I think if we keep building this base, keep real-time debunking, keep showing how Black people, how we are being used, abused, issues ignored. We need to talk about economics and building. I think hopefully we will win this and make a better generation.
A lot of people don't know that Kevin Samuels was a chemical engineer. I knew him in Nesby very well, and all people really know is the theatrics and whatever platform he was standing on. But he was very, very mathematically and scientifically sound, and I don't think he gets that respect as well. He's really respected, very respected in the engineering community.
And Dr. Edwards and Lumumba Speaks. I want to just touch on what you guys were talking about as far as having programs over in Africa, whatnot. The school I attended, Alabama A&M, we have a program like a satellite program, and also an outreach program to where we go over into Ghana, and we're trying to help improve their farming programs or whatnot, and also some of their engineering programs, because the school is based in agriculture and engineering. So I'll try to get you guys information. And I'll send that to you, and anybody else that wants to get the information.
Oh, fantastic!
Okay,
yeah.
I have a question. Oh, go ahead and finish. I do have a question for you, Dr.
I was just going to say, a lot of groups, ethnic groups have, the Chinese Americans and Mexican Americans. They all have their ties to Mexico and China. They have their embassies. I see them in their consulate offices all the time. And if there's something that they don't want in the United States, they use Mexico or China, such as the supply chain issues that we had with the iPhones, for example. They'll slow that down if they don't get what they want. That's how you got the Asian crime bill passed, because they leverage their relationships on the trade, on the supply chain. I'm talking about geopolitical politics here, right? It's much bigger than that. This is a global economy now. So you can't think in terms of your local regional areas. My vision is I'm going to build a consulate in Chicago, and set up, opportunities with, work with, African ancestry or something, give DNA tests. I'll try to arrange grants to get DNA tests done, and then start setting up a bridge between one of the biggest African-American pockets in the United States. Roughly 800,000 African-Americans live in Chicago, and I bet you some of those have Sierra Leonean ties. There's a lot of educated doctors, professors, people.
And you're talking about just the city proper. When you say 800,000, it's over 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about Chicagoland as a whole.
Yeah. And then a lot of people don't see that whole, a lot of the immigrants come into your, what do you call it, safety sanctuary cities.
Yes.
I've been watching the African-American population take a hit every time someone is trucked or bused to Chicago. It used to be 60%. Now it's down to 48%. You know, so I'm just saying the agenda, it doesn't look favorable to Black Americans.
No, and the thing is, because now we got the FBA thing going on, which is gonna, I listen to your point making institutions overseas, having Africa and African Americans communicate, trade, cultural things. The issue is, we got a new FBA thing going on, and I think that's gonna probably dampen that. And I believe, Tariq Nasheed, whether he likes it or not, he is the spokesperson of it. I don't think it's wise to. I definitely understand you don't want. I hear what he's saying as far as like immigrants coming from different black countries to speak on African American issues, but I do think there should be some type of drive towards a communication, peace, understanding, and working together. Especially if we all claim to have the same enemy. We all have outsiders coming into our groups, trying to manipulate the conversation.
I think our worst enemy is ourselves. And I look to the Mexican Americans for inspiration.
I
because
agree.
they're doing it right.
So do I.
I mean, when we say we need to work here, work there, whatever, I'm saying they got powernomics mastered to the T. They have their embassies and consulates in every town. We don't have any.
Okay.
No,
right?
I have a question
but I
for
would
you.
just say this.
Audra, I have a question for you. This is my question. I've listened to Dinah's channel for a while, and I have a split input on this. I understand the dynasties. I understand African and our coalition and trying to work with our ancestors. But you have to understand how American history is structured. And to deny its formal history and the things that were allocated to those people, meaning descendants of slaves, specifically for descendants of slaves, not for immigrants, not for the Pan-Africanism of the world, but for specifically, do we approach this the way that you're saying, or do we approach this the way I look at how the Native Americans have stated? Because if we go back,
well, I think if I could, it's twofold, right? If we look historically at the African American struggle for freedom, equality, so on and so forth, there was always a two-pronged struggle for to gain our rights and for citizenship and humanhood here in America, but also a Pan-Africanist approach that in which we understood that anti-Black racism was global.
Okay,
right?
but you're talking about that as far as present times. I'm talking about previous history.
No. I'm saying historically. No. I'm saying historically that's been the case in America with African Americans.
I don't think there's an
We could look at Martin Delaney. We could look at Dr. King. Right? We talking about individuals who weren't even Black, Pan-Africanists in origin, understood that the issues they were facing in America were interconnected.
I said Native Americans. I said if you go back to Lincoln, and once we were emancipated, and then you talk about Lincoln, you talk about the Native Americans, you talk about the Freedmen Bureau, the Freedmen Bureau Bank.
I'm familiar
and if
with
we
it.
start talking about that era, there were certain guidelines that we were supposed to get. We didn't get. We're not intendedly leading to that. That is still in writing. That is still supposed to be allocated through this country, and we don't hold them accountable for existing laws specifically for African Americans.
Well, I'm gonna say this to that. I don't think that has so much to do with the fact that we don't hold them accountable. It has to do with anti-Black racism. We know Native Americans have treaties with the white government of America, right? And they hold them accountable. If we were accountable, but they still didn't abide by those treaties. So we're dealing with white supremacy here. I mean, that's just the reality. They wrote a lot of things in treaties. What do you call someone who makes a promise and doesn't deliver?
I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree. And what you're saying as far as white supremacy, I'm saying, do we discount the laws and the things that commemorated back then and who we are as a people now? I think there's a
two-pronged approach. I would argue it's bilateral in nature.
Say it again.
So what I stated, I'm quite sure Dr. Williams can elucidate to this better than I can, but there's a bilateral approach, right? We could do two things at once. We could build a strong base and initiatives here in America, right? We need strong institutions so that our people aren't dependent on the white supremacist power structure, and we need to create initiatives so that we have a competitive advantage in a global economy. We also can do that while also doing what? engaging and connecting with Black people throughout the world, particularly on the continent of Africa, so that we have a power base, or as we saw in the movie, the 1996 blockbuster Independence Day, where we're all connected or tethered to that mothership, right? And so one of the things that we see, unfortunately, with many other ethnic groups in America is they are tied or tethered to a
Well,
mothership.
let me ask the doctor, and let me ask Dynast this question. Many of you guys are connected to African kings and leaders of African nations. I know Dynast is very connected to Sierra Leone. Have any of those leaders be willing to take a call out to the United States presidents or this president and say, we'd like to talk to you about
Hey, Shirley,
Sierra Leone citizens who
I'm gonna connect you with Melvin Foote on Facebook. He's over constituency of for African affairs, and he deals with every African ambassador in DC, and he's pretty much a middleman between like policy that gets passed or policy that gets presented to Biden or Obama. He did the it's called Young African Leaders Initiative, the YALI. He's the one that drafted that. And so he when it comes to this, he's the man. So what I'm gonna do, Shirley, I'm gonna connect you with him.
Let me stop you there because I'm so involved in real estate. I put politics on the back burner because again, it's a thankless job. I've done a lot for the Black community, and a lot of people don't appreciate what I've done. A lot of people don't even know the behind the scenes I've done. My question to you was, like I stated, if you know these Black leaders, why aren't they speaking to say they want to have an audience about what's going on in America with their own people? You understand what I'm saying? If you have all this stuff going on bad and good, but we don't hear that in the media. We don't hear the king from whatever country are speaking out against how Blacks are being treated in America and letting mainstream media bring that to the forefront and saying, wow, these African countries are really mad at what's happening to Black people in America. I'll give you an example. When you saw what happened in China, when COVID hit, those Kenyans were getting beat up with metal whips. You remember they were beating those metal whips, talking about you brought this over here, and the president of Kenya was outraged. And he said, get those people back over here quick.
All right.
That's all. Yeah. That was my question.
Edward, did you you see the super chat?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you want can he have you put your email in the chat or no, or how do you want, or
I'll just send it to you one-on-one.
Okay, got you. All right, Dre, do me a favor, Dre. Send me an email, Dre. Go Lost African, go ahead.
Hey, yo, Dynast. I'm about to have to chime out, man. You mind sending me your email and your if I can get your email and your cash app. I want to send like a Search for Uhuru video scholarship. I want to purchase a couple of your documentaries. You can just give them out to somebody in the chat or whatnot.
Well, it's streamed, so it's streamed. It's live. It's like Netflix, so you just pay for it and you stream it.
Okay, I guess maybe have like a gift card or something, so I can just give it out like that. I guess that's cool.
So I'm trying to figure out what you want to do. So you want to?
Yeah, I just want to purchase a couple of them so that way you can just give them out to some of the people that are probably listening or whatnot.
Okay, well, they would have. Well, I can't give it away. They have to go and create a login, and it's like Netflix.
Gotcha.
So it's not a physical, it's not a physical DVD. So they live stream it, and you always have access to it.
Okay, cool. I'll just email you. Hopefully, we can find a way around. Maybe like I said, like a gift card or something, so that way they can see a purchase.
Okay, yeah, no problem. All right, Last Africa, go ahead, brother. Yeah, go say that again.
Yeah, that's right, everybody. I was just saying about I was just saying about the HBCU. About the
You're going in and out, bro.
I'm getting feedback.
Yeah, you're going in and out.
All right, I'll come back, Donnie. I'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I just want to say something about the topic real quick that I wanted to say yesterday, but I couldn't. I am kind of glad that that lady, I don't even know her name, from California said that about black people.
Nury Martinez.
Yeah, Nury Martinez, because the thing is, I think a lot of African Americans have to wake up and see how they're truly viewed, and stop, seeing how people see them behind the scenes and stop living in a fairy tale that we have all these allies who is looking out for our best interests and we're all going to defeat the white man together. That is not happening. And, I want more of these things to happen. Even that no voting, no bucking video, I said that with the V. I'm glad that came out because, especially for black men, because honestly, here's where I can commemorate black women when it comes to politics over black men. Black women, I don't think they would have put up with an Obama presidency if this man was married to a white woman. Now, I don't really care, but I know for a fact if he had a white woman as a president, that much would be enough for them to give Obama the side eye and side with Hillary. When it comes to black men and the Kamala Harris thing, not only did Kamala Harris not even speak to any of the black male issues, she always spoke to immigrant, feminist issues and things of that nature, LGBT issues. Black men, like you got Charlemagne the God saying, because I just want to see the first black woman as a VP, or you got Ricky Smiley saying, oh, she whatever sorority she's in, he was going to vote for. It just seems like the men are not paying attention. It just seems like we're in la la land. We're not taking any type of commanding view politically. And it seems like, I hate to say it seems like black women are more focused. I don't know what it is. And it seems like they can all move in unison in what needs to be done for black women. But I just don't see that with black men. And yeah, so Kamala Harris gets in, doesn't say anything about black men, just completely ignores us. And that's on us. And, black men have to figure out what they want politically and what they want to do and how much disrespect they're going to take before they finally speak up and say something. Because black women will not tolerate the amount of disrespect black men tolerates.
No. Let me bring Last African in and we'll close out. Last African, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Hey, Dynast, I just sent you my contact information.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to have him email me so I won't put it in the chat for everybody to see. So,
yeah.
You got to unmute yourself, Last African. All right. Well, what we'll do, let's see. We'll start with T. T, anything else you want to share in closing?
Oh, no, that's all I want to say. Black people got to open up their eyes and see it for what it is. We are our own allies. We have no other allies. We got to start looking out for ourselves. And black men, one day we're going to have to learn how to stop being disrespected, come up with solutions as a collective and forcibly act on it. And if our interests are just ignored and disrespected, then we need to have a very harsh response to that. And that's all I got to say, man.
All right, go ahead, Shirley.
We live in a state of America where a lot of people are agreeing, and what T said was right on point. California operates under guidelines that are totally different than the rest of the country. So many of you guys are watching from out of the country and within the country. You have to understand California are ran by Democrats, and that most of the police departments are ran by Latinos. They are bilingual, and they say things that are very detrimental to our community and to our people. And the fact that this lady got caught on tape and that someone could interpret what they said in Spanish to English, and then we got to understand how detrimental that was. This is an ongoing thing for them. This is nothing new. And like T said, if we don't wake up to the fact that we have to be our own allies, and then we have to say, look, this BLM and all these other people that control the narrative are not going to work in our best interest. We have to stand up against stuff like this and have these people. This lady should be removed from office, not step down from a position. She needs to be out of office completely, because this is not how you make America move forward. And this is what's happening in California. California is used as the template for the rest of the country. And Gavin Newsom wants to be president. Nancy Pelosi, his aunt, wants him to be president. And you're going to see more of this in the future. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yes, sir. Dr. Edward Williams. Anything else you'd like to share in closing?
No, I think everybody has some really good, valid points, and it's great to be here.
I appreciate it, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynasty Mirror, Search for Uhuru. Peace.